1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster.
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I am your host, Precious D.
And I am your other host, Honeybee.
Today, we're going to switch from movies to television briefly. We're going to be talking about the show Ultra Q.
Oh, wow.
Honeybee, what did you think of Ultra Q?
Well, going from a movie to a TV show, something that's only 25 or so minutes, it's like a lot happening very quickly. And I really enjoyed it. It was like, it's kind of like when you don't know what book to read next, so you just check out a book of short stories. I kind of feel like that's what we're doing here. We're just going into some short stories with Ultra Q,
Okay. How many did you get through?
Two.
Yeah. Eventually, I'll watch all of them. I just got, ladies and gentlemen, I got a Blu-ray steel book edition of the complete series in the mail. But you can watch all these for free on Tubi and Pluto and Shout Factory. My Blu-ray came with a digital code.
Oh.
But I already own all these movies digitally. Not movies, TV shows.
Of course you do.
Yes. So the thing is, Mill Creek had this service for their own digital content called Movie Spree.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have sort of ended it. You used to be able to buy stuff on there directly. But also, if you had a digital code, you would redeem it there. And this was on sale like just dirt cheap, a few years ago. And then they decided we're basically ending this service. If you already own something, it'll still be there. But the apps are going to stop working. You can't buy any new stuff, but you can still go to the website. Your phone app and your Roku app aren't going to work anymore. But the website will still work. And supposedly you can still redeem codes. So if you buy an old DVD or Blu-ray that's still got a code in it, you can still go redeem it.
Oh, yeah.
Since I already have this, I'm willing to give this code to the first listener that sends us an email asking for it.
Oh!
Send it to monstermoviefuntimego@gmail.com. Put the word code in the subject line. Now, I'm making no guarantee that this code will actually still work or that it will work in whatever country you're located in. But if you're the first one, if your email has got the first timestamp on it, I will give you this code for the complete series of Ultra Q.
This is our first giveaway.
Yes, it is. We'll see how it goes.
Hell yeah.
Ultra Q is from 1966. It ran from January 2nd to July 3rd. Then the last episode was delayed. They showed the Ultraman preview special instead, which we will get into in the next episode.
I was wondering why they had the same opening sequence.
Well, it's sort of a spin-off, sort of a continuation.
Okay.
Before we get too deep into that, though, I did want to do some kaiju news.
Ooh.
Not news exactly. Well, did we already talk about the frickin' Call of Duty thing?
No, we haven't.
Call of Duty is putting out a downloadable content thing for Project Monarch. Basically, you go to like Skull Island and you're running around shooting up other teams and whatever and trying not to get stomped on by Kong or breathed on by Godzilla. It's a Godzilla versus Kong. So when I first saw it, I was excited, and then I realized, oh, wait, first I got to buy Call of Duty, then I have to buy this thing. And also, they kept calling it an event, and to me that implied it's a limited time. And then some of the descriptions I've been seeing of it sounds like, you're going to be playing online simultaneously with other groups. So you need to have a team of players, and other people are going to be in there trying to shoot you while you're trying to do your objectives. I don't know. I've hardly played any Call of Duty. I don't know how this crap works. I don't know if there's a solo mode or an offline mode. But anyway, Call of Duty's doing a Project Monarch Kong versus Godzilla thing. So go look that up if you haven't. The other thing I was going to mention is a few weeks ago was Free Comic Book Day. By the time this episode airs, it will have been a few weeks ago. And one of the free comic books they were giving out was something called Kaiju number 8. Mm-hmm. And I got that. I got that. I thought it was a new thing, but it's been out for a while already. It's a manga, and it's on volume 4 already. So the Free Comic Book Day was really just a preview of that and another comic by the same company. And the preview itself wasn't that great because it kind of started in the middle. It kind of started in issue 2. But it was enough that it made me go look on Comixology and get the sample. And the digital sample I got wasn't good enough that I ended up buying it. So I'm partway through volume 2 right now.
Hell yeah.
So it focuses mainly on a group of people whose job it is to fight kaiju.
That's so cool.
There's a guy who's on the kaiju cleanup team.
Yeah, I did read this. I read through the summary of it, and I was like, "Ooh, this sounds so cool."
And he wants to he wants to actually join the defense force and fight the kaiju, but he starts off just working. He's part of the people that have to deal with the gigantic dead bodies laying in the middle of the city when a kaiju has been killed.
I just wondered. I'm like, do they cook them? Because it's a lot of meat. I remember wondering that, like, in the beginning, like during like maybe Tarantula, and there's just like the legs just left over, just like sizzling in the street.
They're already crispy, cooked.
I actually I saw a reference yesterday to Godzilla. I was watching Chicken Little. There is a Godzilla moment when Fish climbs up this tower and like these paper airplanes are flying around him, and he like has this moment, and then he falls and Pig like lifts him up and says, "'Twas beauty that killed the beast." And I was like, holy shit, I never understood that until now.
I've not seen Chicken Little.
Oh, you have to, just for that alone, and it's really good. Also, you need to watch at least just the opening sequence to Jackass 4. Everyone, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure there are many of you who are like, fuck Jackass, that's so stupid, but they are, I grew up in that kind of time. Those dudes were, we were just a bunch of grungy junior high dudes watching those dudes.
Were they your Mr. Rogers? Was Jackass your Captain Kangaroo?
Wouldn't that explain so much? Yeah, I mean, I love those guys so much. And then now it's like 20 years later, they're all, in their 40s and 50s. But the opening sequence, there is a Godzilla Gamera kind of reference going on there.
All right. Okay.
It's fantastic. Rated R, very rated R. Hide your kids, but hysterical. So please watch it. You watch it. Let me know when you do, because LOL.
I'll see if I can do it.
I watched it twice in theaters, and now I watched it again like 2 days ago. So, yeah.
All right. So anyway, back to Ultra Q. Let's start with E.G. Tsuburaya. He's sometimes referred to as the god of tokusatsu, which is Japanese for special effects. They tend to refer to movies and TV shows as tokusatsu movies or TV shows rather than it's fantasy or science fiction. They don't seem as concerned about the genre. Just if it uses special effects, it's all in the same category. He was one of the 3 co-creators of Godzilla, along with Ishiro Honda, the director, and Tomoyuni Tanaka, the producer. The 3 of them were known as the Golden Trio. And he continued to work for Toho until he couldn't do it anymore, until he retired or died. I'm not sure which. But at some point along the way, he decided he wanted to start his own production company, Tsuburaya Productions, to make TV shows. And this was the first one, Ultra Ultra Q was the first one. And because he had these close ties with Toho, and apparently Toho was like a financial backer of his production company and on the board of directors, because of all that, he was allowed to borrow whatever he needed from the Toho studio, from the props, the costumes, the sets, whatever he needed. So some of these monsters are recycled.
Nice. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
So it was from January 2nd to July 3rd, 27 episodes. And then the last episode was finally shown on December 14th of 67 because it got put off so they could show the special preview of Ultraman. And we will talk about that next week because it's its own special brand of strangeness. I don't mean Ultraman in general, which it is, but I mean the preview special. Ultra Q it's in black and white. It was a great big hit, huge ratings, and it is the beginning of what is known as the Ultra series, which is mostly Ultraman stuff. But there was also, in 1990, Ultra Q the movie, Legend of the Stars. 2003 to 2004, there was the Ultra Q Club, a radio drama featuring the original actors.
Oh, cool.
Also in 2004, something called Ultra Q Dark Fantasy, and as recently as 2013, Neo Ultra Q.
Wow.
This show is it reminds me of The Outer Limits, or Kolchak the Night Stalker, or Twilight Zone and the X-Files.
Mm-hmm. I know the X-Files. I do know Twilight Zone, but I didn't ever I maybe watched a few things here and there in passing or something, but I guess the thing I'd be most familiar with is X-Files.
Well, what particularly reminds me of Twilight Zone is the narrator and his whole tone. So this show is about, it's a Monster of the Week show.
Yes, I love that. I just say.
It's about a reporter, Yuriko Edogawa, played by Hiroko Sakurai, and these two pilots. It's mostly about them. Jun Manjome, played by Kenji Sahara. Yay!
Oh!
He works for Hoshikawa Air Service and is an amateur sci-fi writer. I have not gotten into an episode yet where his amateur sci-fi writing has come up. Also, his little sidekick, flunky co-pilot, Ippei Tagawa, played by Yasuhiko Saijo. He's sort of the junior pilot or the co-pilot. We also, it wasn't in the two episodes we watched, but the Professor Ichino Tanai is a recurring character played by Yureo Egawa. And the news desk editor, Seki, is played by Yoshifumi Tajima. Did you recognize him, Honeybee?
Tell me what character you're talking about?
The editor, the boss at the newspaper.
Man, it's been a week since I watched this too, so I'm trying to pull it forward. Is he kind of a chunkier dude? He's a little bit bigger, heavier?
Yes.
With the mustache?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
He doesn't have a mustache in this.
Right, but he did.
He had the Hitler-adjacent mustache.
Yes. Okay.
In Mothra versus Godzilla.
Yes.
So
okay. Totally.
we've seen him in some stuff. Of course, we've seen Kenji Sahara in a bunch of stuff, and we'll continue to see him in stuff. So pretty much every week, Yuriko goes out on some story and needs to be flown there in the helicopter or the airplane. And these two pilots just hang around with her, helping her investigate because Philo.
Yeah, baby.
So we watched the first two episodes. Defeat Gomez, who it's spelled Gomess, but in my head, it's Gomez with a Z. They're they got to defeat some Mexican guy.
Gomez.
Or Gomez Adams, perhaps.
Yeah.
Let's see. That one was directed by Hajime Tsuburaya. Is that his son? I think that's Mr. Tsuburaya's son. And the writer was Kito Senzoko. I got a summary here, my little booklet came with the Blu-ray.
Oh.
Near Mount Kanpo, tunnel excavation work on the third sector of the new Tokai Super Expressway project unearths a huge cavern from which a large, strange stone is recovered. One worker claims to have seen a huge monster in the darkness, leading a young scholar to recall an ancient text kept in a local shrine. This young scholar is a kid. He's a boy.
Yeah, this is our first time, but we got kid scientist. What's up?
Yes. It's all about the reporters these days. No more lady scientists. It's all reporters, both male and female.
Yeah. And this is our first kid scientist.
He's a sort of amateur paleontologist. The legend tells of Gomez, a tusked bipedal beast with fearsome claws, and a phoenix-like bird, Litera, which defends the order of nature against the other. When Yuriko and Jun become trapped in the caverns, they discover that this legend is not mythical when a rhythmic beating emanates from the strange stone, revealing Gomez.
Dun, dun, dun! I just want to say that I am really happy. I was a little nervous about starting a TV show. I wasn't really sure what we were going to get into, but they start like with kaiju, like boom, boom, boom. It happens real quick. We start seeing this puppet. I will say that the puppet does not look great as a whole, but I mean Gomez.
Gomez is a full suit.
Yeah, but they show, so the suit. It doesn't look good all together when they like show it like straight on. But when they show, like when the camera's like tail, eyeball, teeth, like when it shows it like that, it looks all right. But then they show them all together, and it's like, oh, no.
Well, I think I know why it doesn't look so good. This is a recycled Godzilla costume.
Yeah, I definitely thought so with the barky and the tail.
They stuck a bunch of extra crap on top of a Godzilla costume, so it doesn't look quite. It doesn't look quite as good as if they had made it from scratch. I think. It
kind of looks like if Godzilla and Baragon had a baby.
Yeah. Yes.
Bit.
I wanted to mention though the opening credit of this show, the title screen, is kind of fun and unusual. It's a little hard to describe.
It's like an acid trip.
Well, yes. I think what they've done is they've done a sand painting of the title in Japanese, except the Q is in English. The Ultra is in Japanese letters. I'm not sure if they're hiragana or katakana. And the Q is in English. And there's a sand sort of making these swirling patterns. And I believe what they've done is then tilted the sand tray so that it all slides apart. And then run the film in reverse. So what we see is sort of a blurred image that then moves and comes together to create the logo / title.
Nice.
Ultra Q. And it looks really cool. And they play this kind of spooky music. But then later, a little later, whenever they do the title of the particular episode and a little bit of credits, they have this very jazzy Western 60s music.
Yeah.
So, it starts off they're digging the tunnel and somebody catches a glimpse of Gomez and the man loses his mind. His brain breaks. It's very Lovecraftian. And he just goes mad from having seen this thing. And the other workers are dragging him out of the tunnel. And the foreman is just like, oh, that's that alcoholic guy. Just get him to the hospital. Doesn't take it seriously at all.
Now all I can hear is like Cheech Moran in like Born in East LA and as Gomez, like, ole vato, what's happening?
Well, we must defeat him. And this kid is hanging around this construction site though, and it's not safe, and it is not clear why this kid is hanging around and being allowed to hang around. But when the reporters show up to look into the thing, the kid's trying to tell him stuff, and the foreman's just like, don't trust that kid. He's unreliable. We find out way late into the episode that the foreman is his uncle, which is why he's being allowed. He might have to hang around. Maybe the uncle's responsible for taking care of him or something, and he's got to hang around. So, the newspaper gets a report of this thing going on, and the editor's trying to send some dude out, and he doesn't want to go. And our hero, Yuki, what did I say her name was? Yuriko?
Yeah, I have it written down as Yuri-chan, but they say it that throughout the entire movie.
Okay, yes. Her name is Yuriko Edogawa, but they have a tendency to call her Yuri-chan or Yuriko-chan.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing. That's a we talked about Chan in the other episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's 3 basic forms of address. San, which is the most formal and most polite, basically means Mr. or Miss. Then there's kun, which you might call a younger man that. You might also call a woman that, who is your subordinate at work. And you might call a friend that, but you would certainly not ever call your boss or your teacher by kun. And then there's chan, which is my understanding was more of a cutesy thing you would call a kid, or a kid might call their grandparent. But everybody keeps calling her Yuri-chan. And I was like, wait, are they disrespecting her because she's a girl? But she refers to Jun as Jun-chan.
Mm-hmm. And Jiro, the little boy, Jiro, they also call him Jiro-chan.
Yeah. And the sidekick, Ippei, I think people call him Ippei-kun. Mm-hmm. So it seems like Yuriko and Jun are possibly dating, but it's never, I don't think it's explicit. I mean, I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but it's not explicitly stated. But to me, the fact that they're calling each other Chan indicates they have at least a close friendship.
A thing going on.
Though in the 3rd episode, Ippei gives Yuriko a present, and it seems like he's trying to get her attention.
Is it his little monster?
No.
His kaiju?
Yes, it turns out to be. Not on purpose.
Oh, shit.
It's a little gold sphere, a little gold ball that turns out to be an egg of a giant slug. Oh, that's the episode we didn't watch. So they drill they're drilling this tunnel, and they drill into another pre-existing tunnel. Mm-hmm. And this seems to very much confuse everybody, because when the report comes into the paper that they drilled a tunnel and found another tunnel, they all seem very confused about this idea. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what are you talking about? Sometimes there are naturally occurring tunnels. You're making a tunnel and you've just stumbled upon another one that was already there. I don't understand why they're so confused about it. But Gomez is in there. They've woken up Gomez. But they've also extracted an egg from the tunnel. And they get there, and this reporter and this pilot just decide we need to go in the caves and start looking around at stuff. And they end up getting trapped in there.
Yeah, there's an
meanwhile,
earthquake.
Ippei and another reporter who was the first guy on the scene, but I don't know, Yuriko's got a camera, so she goes running into the tunnel. I don't know why the other guy didn't go in there.
They tell him to stay. He's going to, and they tell him to stay, and he's like, "Oh yeah, just leave me behind in the cold."
But when they start talking to the kid, and the kid tells them about there might be some information at the temple, they go with the kid to go investigate. Mm-hmm. And they go to some temple, and the priest shows them some ancient parchment cloth, cheesecloth, something that's got some drawings on it. And the kid just seems to know everything about it. Oh, this is Litera, and he's fighting Gomez.
Yeah, half bird, half reptile.
Yes, he just explains everything. And it can shoot citronella acid. This bird reptile thing.
Great for mosquitoes.
Yes, so. It's great for Gomez's. Back at the cave, Yuriko and Jun spot Gomez, and they spend a lot of time just trying to avoid him, and he keeps seeming to find them. And then we get what is clearly intended to be a commercial break.
Yeah, totally.
And if you're watching it on Tubi or Pluto, there will be commercial breaks, but they won't necessarily be where they were originally
They're not in
intended
the right
to
spot.
be. They might be random.
Yeah.
And
This suit, Gomez's suit, kind of reminds me of when I was a kid and I did Seussical the musical, and we took it to TNT, but we had to do our own costumes. And my mom is like a cool mom, not like a sewing mom.
Oh.
So my costume didn't look fantastic, kind of like this costume does not look fantastic.
The Gomez one or the Litora?
Yeah, the Gomez one. I mean, Litora does not look good either, but
right.
They both but yeah, it just kind of reminded me of that.
But after the commercial break, the reporter Niti, I wrote down his name.
The reporter?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Isn't it June? June something?
No, June's the pilot. Nita or Niti, something weird. And the kid. They're suddenly back at the tunnel and reporting a cave-in. I don't know how they knew about the cave-in. They were over at the temple. It didn't make sense. And then the supervisor accuses the kid of spreading lies again. In the cave, Yuriko and June are trying to find their way out, and they see Gomez again. And then outside, the kid, Jiro, gets the idea to try to hatch Litra's egg so it will fight Gomez. And then we get more of Yuriko and June running around trying to escape. And then June uses the camera flash to scare Gomez. So the reporter and the kid and Ippei are waving fire and stuff at the egg to get it to hatch, and this works. And Litra goes to defeat Gomez.
Yeah, but not until the kid is like, Go, Litora! Don't just hang around here! Do the thing that you're supposed to do! Leave! And it's just like looking at him like,
bird,
ah!
Right? Yeah, as if the bird understands what he's saying.
Yeah.
All these kids are like that. Doesn't matter if it's a bird or a turtle or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
The workers
Litora
are
is
trying to
definitely
dig.
from the Rodan family because she
Yes.
kind of looks like a little chickeny.
The workers are trying to dig the cave-in out, and then Gomez is chasing everyone through the caves, and then Jiro is still talking to Litra, and everyone comes running out of the cave. And here's where we find out, because the supervisor's trying to get Jiro to go, and here's where he calls him Uncle whatever. And I think he means it literally. I don't think it's one of those things where you... Well, that's more in a Chinese thing, I think, where they call people auntie and uncle who aren't literally their aunt and uncle. But anyway, Gomez breaks out, stumbles around like a drunk, starts throwing stuff, and there's a fight.
This toy train. Monster fight!
Gomez pokes at his eyes, shoots his acid breath, his citronellid acid breath that looks more like lightning breath. Gomez goes down. And then Litra lands on top of Gomez and then just dies there.
They both just die. Yeah, I would also like to say there should have been like music or sound effects or something, anything behind the monster fight would have made it better. But just the silence while the monsters were fighting was a little awkward. And then they were just dead.
I was going to say, I guess they couldn't afford to score the fight, but this was, at the time, the most expensive Japanese television show ever made.
Oh, shit.
But it was worth it because it was a big, huge hit, and then eventually led to Ultraman, that it's still freaking running today. Not the same. They'll make an Ultraman show, and then they'll make another one, and then another one, and then a movie, and then a special, and then another one. There are still Ultraman shows happening and movies happening today. New ones constantly being made. It has a Guinness record for a show with the most. Well, I guess Ultra Q has the record for a show with the most spin-offs. If you consider each of those various Ultraman shows a spin-off of Ultra Q, then Ultra Q has the most spin-offs. Or perhaps Ultraman has, depending on how you're counting. Maybe Ultraman has the most spin-offs. And here I thought it was all in the family, but no.
Same.
And then the narrator tells us, once you pass through the Kitayama tunnel of the Tokai Expressway, a small grave lies there. That is the grave of the brave Litera that Jiro-kun had built. They don't actually show us this. He just tells us. The kid went back and built a grave later.
How nice.
This episode is brought to you by the Inspire Collection by Kalia. You shouldn't settle for just any old pair of leggings. You deserve something better. Something designed with you in mind. Like the new Inspire leggings by Kalia. Their most versatile collection yet, made for any workout. They're lightweight, buttery soft, breathable, and made with Lycra adaptive fiber, which molds to your body for a barely there supportive fit. It's perfect for wherever your wellness routine takes you. Shop the Inspire Collection by Kalia now, exclusively at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Episode 2 is called Goro and Goro.
This is not only a recycled costume, but a recycled story.
Yes.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
This is the King Kong costume from King Kong vs. Godzilla with a tail added, because technically this is a monkey.
And there is one small scene where I was like, what the? Oh no, it's his tail. Because of where the camera is standing, where the camera is far away, it's just you can just see it hanging there. And I was like, oh no, wait. Okay. All right. We're good. Carry on.
In the Amagi Mountains, zoologists investigate the appearance of a colossal monkey reported to be jovially swinging from ropeway cables near a hot springs resort. I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's why they're there. The trail leads to the Wild Monkey Research Institute, where a mute custodian Goro has befriended and fed a spider monkey from a store of Obeya walnuts. This is not accurate either. At the facility. Unbeknownst to Goro, they were preserved with a boa potion, an experimental hormone supplement which caused thyroid imbalance and gigantism in high doses. Big Goro comes to the city to look for his missing friend, and a plan is put into motion. Okay, there is... So it starts off with people on the Awashima Kaijo ropeway, which is one of those gondola things that you get at ski resorts and stuff that go up a mountain, And there's some lady giving them tourist information, and they're all enjoying the view. And then suddenly a giant monkey is swinging from the ropes, and everybody screams. But they manage to get it to the station and parked, and everyone runs off. So the monkey doesn't appear to kill anybody. But this is an island. The ropeway goes out to an island where there's a bunch of wild monkeys who migrated to this island during the war.
To get away from humans.
Yes, to get away from humans, because I think they were on another island, but there was war going on that, or they were either on the mainland or on another island, and ran away because there's too much war shit going on. The narrator talks to us about thyroid glands, and then we see this. Then we see this guy, farmer-looking guy. He turns out to be Goro. He's mute. So there's human Goro and there's monkey Goro. This guy is burning leaves, and there's a couple of city guys staying in a cabin out there in the middle of nowhere. They've been there for 2 months, but we know they're city guys because they're wearing freaking coats and ties while they're out there doing some kind of research in this cabin. And they notice that monkeys have gotten into the chemicals, and they yell at Goro about it.
They got into the chemicals? I thought it was walnuts.
First they got into the chemicals, then they noticed that they've gotten into the walnuts.
Oh.
But it
okay.
doesn't appear that Goro is purposely feeding them the walnuts. It looks like they've torn into the side of the package.
Yeah.
They never say Goro. They say, look at the footprints, look at the way it's torn into. But the one guy yells at human Goro, blaming him for everything, and he runs away. Goro runs away. So Goro appears to have some sort of mental disability. He is not only mute, he seems simple. So maybe they should treat him with a little more patience and kindness. But
yes, seriously.
It's 1966, so no.
So no.
We see that these guys are working at the Wild Monkey Research Lab. And some passing policeman makes fun of Goro while he's running away. And then they talk about how the monkeys have gotten into the walnut.
Oh yeah,
potion.
about his ears. Oh, was it his ears they're making fun of?
I don't remember.
Oh.
He was just being mean. He was just being mean. And the policeman informs them of the professors, he calls them, of the giant monkey attack. And then human Goro out in the forest starts whistling and calls Giant Monkey Goro.
Because he's his daddy.
I don't know how exactly it becomes established that the giant... Oh, I guess they knew he had a monkey friend. They all start calling him Monkey Boy.
Yeah.
And they knew he had a monkey friend who they also called Goro, but they didn't realize until just now, or in a moment here, that he had grown to gigantic proportions. Meanwhile, at the airport, Jun and Ippei get a letter from Yuriko with a picture. She is with a primitive tribe. And she says in her letter that one of the orangutans looks just like Ippei-kun. And they're out there looking for ex-Japanese soldiers on the islands in the South Seas. So this was a thing, or at least it appears, I don't know how much this actually happened in real life, but supposedly there were Japanese soldiers from World War II who were stationed on these remote islands who never got the word that the war was over and never surrendered. And this is a little similar to what we saw in Atragon.
Yeah.
Except that guy had been told to surrender and refused.
Yeah,
some of these
that
guys
guy
just
was
don't.
a douchebag.
Yeah, but the idea that there's some lone soldier somewhere who doesn't know he's supposed to surrender, doesn't know the war is over, and is still just waiting around for his orders or to find out what happens. That's a thing. Yeah. I have no idea if that ever really happened, but it's an idea that's out there.
Yeah. We've all seen a movie or two.
Yeah. So I believe that's what she's referring to when she says they're out there looking for ex-Japanese soldiers on the islands. And then the boss comes in and somebody says something about gorilla, and he says, no, it's a monkey. Get the helicopter. Oh, she's in her letter. She says something about the boss being mad as a gorilla or something. Don't let him know. Don't tell him, or he'll be mad as a gorilla. And then he comes in and they go, it's the gorilla. And he says, no, it's a monkey. Get the helicopter.
Yeah.
And they're all just like, yes, boss. So I was confused. I thought they are a helicopter/airplane company that the newspaper hires when they need them. Mm-hmm. But the boss the editor comes in acting like they work for him all the time. Like they're just on standby. Like they are the newspaper's helicopter pilots. I don't know if it's clear. I don't know if the writers understand. I don't know, but he does call him boss.
Yeah.
So, I think this is the one where the editor's gonna go cover this story himself, and at some point somebody says something about it, and he's like, what are you talking about? There's no superiors or inferiors in news business. There's just basically there's a job needs to be done. It doesn't matter if I'm the boss. Mm-hmm. We all got to do the job. So I kept thinking that Yuriko wasn't going to show up in this, that she was busy for some. I thought the actress was busy and they were writing these excuses for her not to show up. But no, she does show up eventually.
She does.
Monkey Goro attacks a milk truck and spills milk all over himself because he's a costume and can't actually swallow it.
Yeah, he can't drink it, and it's so awkward. Even when he's drinking, eating, all of it, it's just really awkward.
He does a real Cookie Monster thing where he just sort of puts the food in the direction of his mouth, but it just goes all over the place.
At least Cookie Monster is smart enough to like throw the pieces behind him,
Yeah.
so it looks like he's kind of tearing it up. This guy's just like, I'm gonna spill this on myself.
Yeah.
Doesn't it look like I'm drinking it? And it's like, no, it looks like you're very unsatisfied.
And then Human Goro shows up and basically is just like, puts his arms up, is like, pick me up. So
I love.
they sort of do a Kong, except that Goro is willingly being picked up by giant Goro.
Because he's his daddy.
Yeah.
You can be nonverbal and still be a daddy.
Yeah.
Wink.
And then the professors are out looking for Human Goro, and they run into the newspaper gang. And they see Giant Monkey holding Human Goro and think he's in danger. But the professors say, no, he's safe. He's the monkey's foster parent. He's a real monkey maniac. And we all call him Monkey Boy. And that he grew up with monkeys. So I guess he's sort of a Mowgli Tarzan kind of a...
Oh.
This might be why he's mute, because he never learned to speak. There are cases of children who were basically raised by wolves or feral dogs or whatever, who were raised running the streets. And if they don't learn to speak human language, whatever language it might be, by a certain age, it becomes very difficult to teach them later on.
Yeah.
In most cases, it's just not possible. Or maybe they can just teach them a few words, but you really need to learn that stuff. And that's why it's harder for adults to learn other languages than children are just sort of hardwired to absorb that.
Little tiny sponges.
A child can learn basically as many languages as there are different people around him or her to speak them. But if there's only monkeys around, you're only going to learn monkey.
Except for this monkey does not make monkey noises. He just squawks, which is fucking annoying. It just sounds like a button. It's just like on repeat. Like, I did not like the monster sounds in this show.
So they tell us that the Monkey Boy's real name was then taken by the monkeys. Human Goro picks a branch of apples for Monkey Goro. Then they do a story about it. There's a headline in the papers. A tale of a lonely young man and his friendship. And everyone congratulates the editor on his great story. And then some other random reporter that we don't really know shows up in a safari outfit. And they're like, hey, where's Yuriko-chan? Why is she not with you? Oh, she went straight to the airport. And they're all like, oh, well, gee, I wonder why she would go straight to the airport. There's only one person she could be wanting to see out there. And so we see her hanging out with Jun and Ippei. I don't know why'd she have to go straight to the airport? She should have arrived at the airport and then just hung out there. I don't know. I guess there's more than one airport. She maybe came into a proper airport and they're just in their little tiny plane and helicopter airport. And that they're talking to, so the boss calls her about going to cover the monkey story. I'm not sure why, because he's already written about it. And she says, there was a monkey at Elan Island also.
Yeah.
The island she was just at. And tells the boys to fly her to the story. So the helicopter lands and they find the villagers beating up Monkey Boy for stealing food. They're just surrounding him and kicking him and beating him. Yes, you were going to say?
I was going to say when the female reporter is talking about this other monkey on the island, she tells us basically the story of King Kong.
Oh,
but,
yes, that the locals worship it. Not
King Kong, yeah.
Well, it's a little nicer version, but yeah, that he's sort of a god to the people on the island. But instead of eating virgin sacrifices, he helps them out.
Yeah.
When there's storms and things, I guess he helps out.
Well, we're still not sure that he eats them, right? We're not really sure what he does with them.
We don't know for sure what Kong does.
Yeah.
That's true. We don't know for certain that we know that he eats some people, or at least bites them.
Yeah.
He might bite them and spit them out. We don't see him chew and swallow, but he bites them.
That's what she said.
They break up the fight, and the villagers explain that he's been stealing food. And then the police arrive, and they're like, hey, I hope you guys didn't do a rough thing. I hope you didn't, they're basic. Sure, he's been stealing stuff, but the police are not intending to beat him for it. They're like, geez, I hope you guys didn't get too rough with the guy. And they arrest him. And Monkey Goro shows up wandering around town. I guess hasn't seen his foster father in a little while. It seems that Human Goro was trying to steal food to feed to Monkey Goro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's like, my daddy hasn't come back with food.
Yeah, I don't know why he can't just eat leaves and stuff in the forest, but...
He's spoiled.
Yes. The reporter team is walking along the road, and they get a ride from the researchers. And at the newspaper, they're going through the developed island photos when the editor spots one with a giant monkey in it.
Hey!
And, this is where the other reporter talks about how the islanders worshipped it and it helps them. And then Yuriko explains, back where she is, that it helped when ships got wrecked on the reef. And the researchers explain that about the special walnuts made it grow. And these were used in the war to increase the stamina in weak soldiers. But too much could stimulate the thyroid gland. So maybe the other monkey ate the soldiers' walnuts. The ex-Japanese soldiers, who we've never actually confirmed were on that island, they were just looking for them, apparently left enough walnuts behind that it causes monkey to mutate or to have a thyroid problem. They run into villagers with guns heading the other way because Monkey Goro is tearing up the town.
Tiny toy
There's
town.
sirens
Woo!
and bells. Goro's walking down the street. The police shoot him in the butt.
Power lines. Picks up a car. Fucking throws it.
We get power line stuff. He kicks part of a building and then falls backwards into another building. And the power lines shock him. He does throw a police car. And then there's some other guys in a cell with Monkey Boy, and they're like, what's going on? Goro tears up the phone lines, and then the Ultra Q team arrives and asks the police to stop shooting.
I also noticed here in the, what are they called? Subtitles, captions, that someone says something like, that ain't a fire. And I was like, ooh, is there a Japanese equivalent to ain't?
Probably.
That's interesting.
The editor goes and gets Monkey Boy from the jail. Yuriko suggests taking Monkey Goro to Ellen Island. And then the editor shows off and offers and says, yes, I'll pay for that. That's a great plan. I'll pay for it. And he says, you don't need weapons. You just need a heart. Monkey Boy gets out of the police car and they send him with a canister of milk to calm down Goro, not having told him that the milk is drugged.
Yeah, they trick him with the sleepy juice.
Yes. So Goro goes nappy time.
What a fucking terrible thing to do to Human Goro.
Yes. So they're all very sad. They're all very pleased with themselves because they've knocked out Giant Goro and are going to probably suspend him from a net from helicopters or balloons or something and take him to this other island. But they have not explained any of this to Human Goro. All he sees is his friend collapse. And it ends with him screaming in horror as the camera zooms out on the sleeping Goro, and the end.
It was a terrible fucking ending. I almost watched the next episode just to see if it went into the same story, but I knew it wasn't going to because this wasn't the same as the first one. So I was just like, what the fuck? How horrible. What a terrible ending.
I thought it was so weird that they set up what seems to be a happy ending, but then ended it on a horrified note.
Yes.
With nobody explaining to poor Goro Monkey Boy that it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
If they had just explained to him, it's all right, we're going to take him somewhere else where he and another giant monkey can team up and do God knows what kind of damage.
Yeah, make little monkey babies, perhaps, maybe.
Who knows? I wanted to call your attention to episode 6. You might personally want to jump ahead to it.
Okay.
It is called, I haven't watched it yet, but it is called Grow Up, Little Turtle.
Aw.
A young boy's pet turtle grows to incredible size after being exposed to sewage.
Ew.
I just thought since you enjoyed Gamera so much, you might want to see this Gamera ripoff episode.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. Sewage? He's a shit turtle?
He might just be in the sewers and there's some kind of chemicals in the sewers. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Man, I was sitting at a red light today and my car kind of did this thing where it like settled and it kind of like shook a bit, and I half expected the ground to just crack in front of me and a giant monster to just like emerge and pandemonium in the street, and I was like, man, this has really gotten into my
So, Honeybee, what was your general thoughts on Ultra Q?
So my general thoughts are, I love that it's like a different monster every week. So we get a lot of action that way. First episode, we got a good monster fight. Second episode, not so much. I was a little thrown off by the way the second episode ended. But other than that specific part, and the monsters kind of being like just recycled, I really enjoyed it. I really thought like, wow, what a great idea as far as, you know, every like different monster, different story every week. I really enjoyed that part of it and thought, wow, this is such great. I could see why this was so big. You know, I could see why this made it because it's good. And it's a lot. Like I said, it's those short stories. You kind of get a little bit of everything, but quickly. And I did like that. I did enjoy it. But like I also said, that ending in the second episode kind of made me go like, what? I don't know if I would enjoy that kind of ending, you know, every week. So I don't know. I was a little thrown off by that. But yeah, other than that, I'd say this show, for the 2 episodes I've seen, I'm going to give it 3 stars.
I've watched 3 of them so far. I'm going to watch all of them, I think, eventually. I like it. I also just like the whole idea of it. It really helped kick off the kaiju explosion of this time period. And then with its sequel, Ultraman, which we'll get into next week, started a whole subgenre of television.
Oh yeah.
That's still going today. So it's certainly a very important show. I recommend it, especially since you can get it free on Tubi.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 4.
Ooh, nice.
Just in general, for the series in general. I like the people on it. Kenji Sahara.
Shout out.
Is always good. I like Yuriko-chan. We'll see more of her next week.
Tune in next week.
So, thanks for tuning in, folks. Remember, first person to email us at monstermoviefuntimego@gmail.com will get a key code for Ultra Q digital copy of the series that I make no guarantee about it actually working. But what do you want for nothing? Until then, I have been Precious D.
And I have been Honey Bee.
Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements.
And please don't misuse science.
We will not see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go.
Let's go!
You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texacato Folk Rock Punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/MNFTG.